And welcome to this grammar video on basic sentence structure. In this video, we're going to look at the basic structure of a sentence. Basically, a sentence has two parts. A subject, which is doing something, an actor if you like, and a predicate, which tells us what the subject is doing. Let's look at some examples. This student, subject, writes predicate. What this student writes is the complete sentence. Let's have a look at another example. Sam, the subject, gives a lecture, predicate, and now we have a complete sentence, Sam gives a lecture. Another example, my old iPod, subject, still works, predicate, and together, my old iPod still works, which is the complete sentence. And one last example, these books, subject, are interesting, predicate, and together they give us these books are interesting, which is a complete sentence. Okay, well, let's look more closely at the various parts of the sentence. We have a sentence, as we know, which consists of a subject, in other words, the doer, and a predicate, which tells us something about the doer or the actor. Now, if you look closely at the predicate, you'll find a verb and what we call a complement. Let's just take a look at some examples to understand it more clearly. Okay, firstly, Sam, subject, teaches, verb, grammar, complement. So together, teaches grammar is the predicate, where teaches is the verb, and grammar is the complement. In other words, the complement is the part of the predicate which receives the action. And together we have the complete sentence, Sam teaches grammar. Okay, another example. Faisal, subject, is, verb, attentive, complement. Is attentive is the predicate, Faisal is the subject, and together we have a complete sentence, Faisal is attentive. So Faisal, the subject, is doing something, attentive tells us about what is being done, and is the verb which tells us what the action is. Okay, let's look at yet another example. Student, subject, and in the predicate we have form, which is the verb, groups, which is the complement. Altogether we have students form groups, and students form groups is our complete sentence with the subject and predicate, and in the predicate we have a verb and complement. Students is doing it, and groups is receiving it, but it, the action, is formed. Okay, another example. Study, subject, pays, verb, dividends, complement. So the predicate is pays dividends. Altogether, the sentence is study pays dividends. Okay, well, let's do some activities. Activity 1. Now, some word groups listed in this activity contain a subject and a predicate and are therefore complete sentences. Others do not and can therefore be considered to be fragments or parts of sentences. In this activity, try to identify which word groups are just sentence fragments and which are complete sentences. Let's begin. Okay. Changes in federal government priorities. Is this a complete sentence or is it a sentence fragment? Here's the answer. It's a sentence fragment. Good. Because there's no verb in this sentence, so cannot be a complete sentence. Let's try another example. Students like fast food restaurants. Okay, is this a complete sentence or is it a sentence fragment? In other words, does this sentence have a subject and a predicate, or is there something missing? Yes, this is a complete sentence. Number 3. More than enough money. Okay, does this sentence have a subject and a predicate? And if it has a subject, what is the subject? And if it has a predicate, does the predicate contain a verb? What do you think? Here's the answer. Yes, this is just a sentence fragment. It is not a complete sentence. One more example. Studying together in a group. Now, what is this? Fragment or complete sentence? Yes, it's a fragment. Okay, and the final example. Our teacher delivered a lecture yesterday. Now, is this a complete sentence or just a sentence fragment? See if you can identify a subject and a predicate, or subject, verb and complement. If you can, then it's a complete sentence. If not, it's only a fragment. So, what do you think? Did you say it was a sentence? If you did, then that was correct. Alright, let's move on to a second activity. So, activity 2. Now, the following word groups are all simple sentences. What I'd like you to do here is label the subject, the verb, and the complement by writing the appropriate letter S for subject, V for verb, or C for complement above each. Let's begin. The university offers many interesting courses. There's a spelling mistake here. Never mind. What do you think? Where is the subject? Where is the verb? And where is the complement? Okay, the university is the subject because it's doing something. Offers is the verb. And the complement then, many interesting courses. Second one. Students like fast food restaurants. Can you see the subject, verb and complement here? Yes, students is the subject. It is doing something. Like is the verb or the action, and what is receiving the action is fast food restaurant, so that is the complement. Let's move on. He has more than enough money. Well, what do you think? Where is the subject, the verb and the complement? Okay, here we go. He is the subject, has is the verb, and of course, more than enough money is the complement. Fourth example, the students study together in a group. Well, see if you can identify the subject, verb and complement here. Did you say that the students was the subject? If you did, good. Study is the verb, and the complement which receives the action is together in a group. So, how did you do? One more final example. Our teacher delivered a lecture yesterday. Can you identify the subject, verb and complement in this sentence? Yes. Our teacher is the subject or the doer. Delivered is the verb or the action, and the receiver of the action or complement is a lecture yesterday. Well, how did you go? I hope by now you have a better appreciation of the basics of sentence structure. Thank you and good luck in your grammar.